Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, I want to welcome you to another E-Thought Conversations. As always, we try to bring you insightful, informative, I like to say infotainment, bring you some infotainment, information and entertainment at the same time, and have some thought-provoking conversations. Well, today I'm going to have another thought-provoking conversation because I have the one and only, my friendly therapist or friend of
Princess.
friend of piss. I try to link those two together. She's your friend and she's your therapist. Sierra Renee, she's the owner and therapist and life coach of Elevated Counseling and Coaching. And she has formal clinical training from Moody Theological Seminary. And she's earned her Master's of Arts in Counseling and Psychology. And today she's going to help us with our mental health through the pandemic and through the holidays. First, I want to start with welcoming you. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. You said Moody Theological Cemetery. Now,
Did I say cemetery?
it was some hard times in there, but it wasn't that bad.
Seminary. She went to the seminary, not the cemetery. Thank you for that correction. That's what brings us life. We got to speak life in here.
You're going to have people looking up Moody Cemetery.
What kind of degree? A master's of art? What is that? Is she talking to the dead? Anyway, that's our humor for the day. We always keep it light. We keep it light. Hey, there's a get into our show. There's a stigma with our culture. What's the difference between mental health and mental illness? We seem to think that if we come to a therapist, we have to be mentally ill. Is that accurate?
Absolutely not. I think everybody should go see a therapist. It's like a kind of a wellness check as well. So, you maybe want to think about it like as being proactive instead of reactive, right?
Yeah.
So you can gain certain skills and you can get educated in different ways that maybe you just wouldn't come across from seeing a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor, social worker, whoever you choose to best fit you, that can prepare you for life. Because the reality is our training will help us to equip you with certain things that is going to be the inevitable in life. And then you can always come in a time of crisis as well, but that doesn't have to be the only time. So in my business, we also do life coaching. So some people come along and just say, hey, I'm thinking about making this transition in life. I want to do this change or this new thing. Like, help coach me through that. Like, what would that look like? And I don't declare myself a master of anything, but it is helpful to have an unbiased opinion. Take a look at some of the things that we come up with. And sometimes just having somebody else read it back to you, you'd be like, well, that ain't sound as good as it did in my head.
Yeah. Have a difference of opinion. So I don't have to be clinically diagnosed to come see a mental therapist. That's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely not. You don't have to have any kind of clinical diagnosis. You don't have to be in a point of crisis. It doesn't have to be that you feel overwhelmingly stressed or depressed to go and see a therapist. I think all of us would have something that we could benefit from, just that whole iron sharpening iron. Theory, right? Bouncing something off of somebody, going through life alone it wasn't even God's intention. So you can definitely benefit from somebody who's trained in a way of helping us to, as my saying goes, being elevated to the very best version of ourselves.
Oh, I say that again. Come on. Being what?
So that's the whole purpose of my practice. Like, I don't declare to know it all or be able to do like this wizardry thing. It's just about being elevated to the very best version of you. I can't have you look like anybody else, but what I can do is encourage you, hold you accountable, and push you to be the very best version of yourself.
Oh, I love that. That's absolutely dynamic. That's what we all should strive for, right?
Yeah, because I can't teach you to be nobody else. You don't bring me no goals. I want to do this. I want to do that. Like, what do we have for you? What version of you can we get you to? Don't bring me. I want to be like so and so or that. Nah.
Yeah, I guess my hesitation would always be maybe I don't want to know about me. It's just different hearing it from somebody else, and sometimes it's hard to face reality.
That's true. That is a big thing that keeps us away from any kind of feedback from anybody. It doesn't have to be a professional. Sometimes we just don't want to know from our very close loved ones because that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow.
That is a hard pill to swallow. Yeah, because you want to think you already, know everything.
So I got it together.
Yeah, I got it together. I don't need nobody tell me anything, but we're always evolving. I was watching Will Smith reset, and he was talking about he was with his therapist, and he was saying that one thing I thought was great is that he said he learned a lot through therapy, and one thing that he learned is that he learned to listen without commenting. And I was like, wow. And he's been in so much therapy till he has the practice down set. And his therapist commended him on that, because when the lady who was the first Aunt Viv asked him why he didn't come back, well, because I was broken, this, that, and the other, he just sat back and he just listened. I was like, that was a powerful moment. I don't know what that had to do with this, but I just thought that was a powerful moment between a client and a therapist. It encouraged me, though. I guess that's what I'm saying, is it encouraged me, because through that, if he had not been in those settings or had not acknowledged that, he would not have been prepared for that moment.
That's true. Yeah, I watched that too. It was very powerful because you could see the hurt from both of them, and you can almost see the healing that took place after that point. Because that was a long time to hold something against somebody. Like, what is that, 7 years or something?
Yeah, and that's all the years that she went through broken, and he using comedy to heal his hurt.
Yeah, she made a post. She said, "Thank you, Will. You freed me from this prison." And I think that that's such a powerful thing, because we really just don't know like what a small act of kindness can do for somebody else. He didn't have to do that. Like, he's Will Smith, right?
Will Smith, yeah.
It is what it is. He didn't have to do that, but I thought it was such a powerful thing for all of us to experience and to share with everybody. And that small piece of kindness, she made the analogy, you freed me from a prison.
A prison. Wow. And knowing who he is and who he has evolved to be, I'm sure that even financially he's made some things right. He'll probably never speak about that, but you know, there's a lot of money.
That would be awesome.
Hey, money answers all things. And she's probably getting some residual anyway from her first 2 seasons, but even still, you know, she lost everything as a result. But anyway, on a happier note, or on a different note, how do I know when I'm stressed through this pandemic? How do I know when I'm stressed, or when or I don't know. Yeah, just when I'm stressed.
Okay.
What's my triggers?
One of the telltale signs about being stressed is probably your temperament, right?
Okay.
So when small things really just are catastrophic to you, right? Toilet paper being out in the bathroom, the world is over. Oh my God, what is happening? I hate everybody in this house. You might be stressed out
over the toilet paper. Because it's got to be over. It can't be under. It's got to come over. That's official. We settle that right now. We can take a poll, whatever. It's over is the right way.
Under, it just better be on the road. That's my thing. I don't care, but put it on the road, not on the sink, not on the tub, not on the floor. On the roll, and the old roll goes in the trash.
In the trash? It just doesn't sit on the counter.
The cardboard in the trash. That's what the little garbage can is there for.
So if I have a grudge over the toilet paper for some days, I may need to come in.
You may be stressed. Yeah, your temperament is one of the big things that tells you that, because you're no longer, your body is not able to handle certain things like normal stressors of life. Like I might have road rage. I might. But I also might be stressed out that I'm late for work because I didn't get up on time. And now everybody else is a demon that's out to destroy me and end my career because they're driving to work as well. But I might just be a little stressed out from the day. I set the tone early in the day. I didn't get up. I dragged my feet. And now everybody else is paying the penalty. Well, that extra stress from, which would be normal if I was just cruising, listening to my, Mary, I'd be like, yeah, bless you. Now I'm like, I got a different bless you that's happening now.
Right.
But because my stress is so high, my temperament is maybe exaggerated. So that would be a telltale sign that it's time. Also comes out in your physical. You might be able to look at your face and see tiredness in your eyes, dark circles. I'm one that when I'm really grinding, and I'm not getting as much sleep as I should be, or not prioritizing self-care, I'll get those dark circles under my eyes real quick. You can start to see things in your skin. Some people may even respond to stress with like acne would even happen. Stress acne will come out, or just different things that you can notice if you really pay attention to your body and the physical, and then connect it to what's going on in your reality. I'm not sleeping. Why is my face breaking out like this? Or I'm eating too much junk and now I'm going like carb crazy and different things of that nature. So cravings will happen as well if you're stressed, because we want to naturally repair ourselves and feel good. So carbs make us feel good.
Wow. And you know, my sleep pattern definitely was interrupted at the beginning of the pandemic. I've kind of settled in now. But what kind of things are you seeing more commonly in some of the, and I know you can't disclose exact things, but what are some of the more common things you're running into during this pandemic?
A lot of, it's so funny. A lot of stress to be great. Wow. A lot of people are stressing over, what do I do with this time? Because we have to push this narrative of now is the time to basically everybody should be a superstar when this pandemic is over, right? So there's a lot of stress to do something. I felt that myself. It was like, you don't got no excuse. You don't have clients. You furloughed from work. You need to be the next person on Red Table Talk. Do it. You can do it. You have the time. I was like, but I don't want to.
This is good. Come on. I had that. Absolutely.
Everybody wants to start a business. I bet you if you look up the creation of LLCs during this time, it's going to be like, what?
Okay.
It's crazy because there's a lot of pressure to be great. And there's a lot of pressure on moms to be better moms. You got the time now, sis. Fathers, you need to show up. You got all like so much pressure to do great things. And not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes down to, it's almost a shaming narrative. Like,
okay,
you was down for 8 months, and
what did you accomplish?
What did you do? Like,
yeah.
Maybe I had to reset. That 8 months was good. I took the first 2 months. I really did nothing, Eric. I was like,
wow,
this a break. I did nothing. I did nothing at all. Like, I looked into a couple things, and I kind of figured out how to work with my current clients, because I didn't want to just ethically. I couldn't just be like, well, y'all, it's a pandemic, bye. But I had to figure those things out. But for the most part, I relaxed. I enjoyed family. I enjoyed time. I rearranged some stuff. But I think a lot of people are getting overwhelmed with trying to be great. And I know that's sad, but it's really stressful.
I think the beauty is always in the balance, because we do have time. So what do you tell somebody that's like, because we do have months that we have to be accountable for. So where is the balance in that?
That's exactly what we do tell them. You got to find a balance. You don't have to fall subjective to this whole narrative of you should be the next superstar at the end of this thing. You can be intentional about certain things. This is not for you to have an excuse like, oh, I'm off work, I ain't want to do nothing, I deserve this time. But you should set goals, and you should be intentional about what you're doing, even if it is relaxing. Okay, well, these are going to be my self-care days. Now I'm going to prioritize this time, and this is how I want to do it. Wednesdays is my admin day. I do all things admin on Wednesday. So being intentional, creating that balance, and recognizing that your journey is completely different than anybody else's. You have to be the best you. You don't have to be anybody that's on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever else you looking at to gauge what you should be doing in life. No, what is attainable for you? What is going to make you feel happy? One of the first things I always do with people is like, well, how do you define success? What does that mean to you? Because that's where we want to get you at, not money. That doesn't mean success for me. Time makes me feel successful. If I, at the end of the week, I've got extra time, I did a good job.
Come on now. So I love that, because that goes into your life coach segment. So you bring two beautiful things to the table: a therapist and a life coach, because you discover their purpose, and then you can coach them to their purpose and help them have balance in the midst of that. Y'all hear that? Shout your information out right now. Somebody needs that. Shout your information out right now before we go to another question. Where can they find you at? Right in the middle of this.
Right in the middle of this. You can find me on Facebook at Elevated Counseling and Coaching. I'm also on psychologytoday.com as Sierra Renee, or you can just hit me up directly, 734-956-0616. And we can let's get to work. I like working. It makes me feel good. It's my purpose. So I'm moving in it.
And you glow in that, and you can tell the energy that you bring to that. You bring a balance to that, and that's a beautiful thing. And I think that's what people need, especially in this pandemic. What about people who are grieving? The pandemic has definitely hurt our community, the African American community. It hit us a little heavily. So how can we deal with people who this is their first holiday without their loved one, and then I'm gonna go to how can they get closure? For me, closure is the sealing of the beer and going to the cemetery and all that. So some people didn't even get those opportunities in the beginning. You couldn't even go to the cemetery.
Yeah.
How do we deal with grief? And then what about bringing closure to that grief?
So grief is a unique and personal journey. I think that's the first thing we need to understand. Can nobody tell you how to do this thing?
Okay.
You really need to be in tune with you and recognize that you're going to go through these stages, and you're not going to go through it maybe like how everybody say you should go through it, like denial and then acceptance, and then maybe you regress. Maybe you accept it and then you switch back to denial. Like, I think it's really important for us to get to know us so that when we do these things, we don't put it up against anything else and make us feel bad. It's your own personal journey. Recognizing that it's okay to not be okay. You never get over the loss of somebody. You just deal with it differently in different times of your life. Sometimes it's going to be better than the other times, but it's unique and it's personal for you. And we don't recognize that, I think, because we don't take the time to really know who we are. What do I need during this time? Do I need a friend? Do I need to cry? Do I need to be vulnerable? Do I need to be strong? We just kind of go with whatever the masters say we're supposed to go with, but that's not going to get you to where you need to be, because you are so unique and it's going to be so relative to you. You have to find that path for yourself.
So you need to give yourself permission to grieve uniquely, and then probably seek some professional counseling or something so that they can give you the balance in that, so you're not somewhere being uniquely weird.
Yes, I do think you can, if you feel like, this grief is impeding in your life, where you're not getting out the bed, or you're not doing the things that are your responsibility, taking care of children, finances, work, it's really causing a problem for you, right? Then yes, you can absolutely seek some professional help to help you to navigate those things. We can give you some tips and tools, but just generally speaking, because I try not to say like this is what you should do. Just generally speaking, getting in touch with you. Maybe I do need to go seek professional help so that they can give me they can understand who I am, and they can provide me with the tools that's going to be most beneficial for me.
I love it. I love it. And again, closure. I know we talked off camera a little bit about unique ways to celebrate your loved one. I think that transcends into non-traditional things that we do. Like for me, the traditional transition is the whole ceremony portion, but now we're limited in that. So there are some other ways that you recommend maybe I can celebrate.
Yeah, I do. Figuring out how to honor that loved one. Sometimes I feel like we avoid the fact that someone has gone on, and we do a disservice to the impact that they had in our lives as well as their legacy, right? So figuring out how you can honor that person. My mom went up to Frankenmuth sometime this summer, and she bought some Christmas globes to go on the tree, and it was with some of the loved ones that we lost. It had their names on it. Nice. And that was a way to honor them. So they'll be a part of that ceremonious decorating of the tree, and they're there. And yes, I do think that it's going to have some sadness as it's going on, right? There will be some sadness, but I think that we could all look at that as a moment to say the legacy that they left with us. And now we even have a new tradition to go forth as part of the family. So those are ways that we can honor them. And that feels good to our soul when we're not trying to avoid something or push something out of our mind, because the more you tell yourself not to think about something, the more you're just going to think about it. So why not be in control of it and choosing to say, I want to honor this in this way? Yes, this is sad for me. I can acknowledge that reality, but I also can control the narrative of what I'm going to do with the reality. I'm going to rejoice. I'm going to honor that person.
Yeah.
I'm going to think of those good things to help me during these times.
That is wonderful. So we empower everybody out there to find a new tradition, find a different way to celebrate the life, the love, legacy of your dearly departed. Keep them alive. And I love that. Oh, yeah, there's so many things we can do, but we get staunched in tradition. And I think one thing the pandemic has taught us is that nothing is certain and that we have to find new ways to do everything. We can't stop living.
Right.
This is not the first plague. This is not the first natural I won't say disaster, but it is a global pandemic that has hit us in the history of the world. So we will get through this, and we're gonna make it through, and we're gonna look back on 2020. Hopefully 2020 is it.
Yes.
Look like we're coming to the end of this thing, but nevertheless, we have hope. So that's the good thing. So yeah, I want to thank you. You've been absolutely phenomenal. What people don't know about you is that you do spoken word. So I had to twist your arm virtually and say, we're gonna go out on a high note. We understand that now we can get through mental health, that we can strengthen our mental health. We understand that you'll coach us to our purpose. We understand that we can grieve in non-traditional ways and honor our loved one, but we need something to lift us up. And you said you're going to give us a spoken word. I say yes.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. So this one does lift us up. It's also going to hold us accountable too, to a degree, because I think we talked a little bit about kindness as well. So I wrote this because in our world of social media, everybody gets access to so much of our lives. And oftentimes we make judgments about what people post to be, and we don't know the story. Like, we don't really know why they might be posting those things, but we quick to make a judgment call on those things.
And tell our audience, social media is not real. Social media is filters and angles, and people don't know what we got on underneath this screenshot.
Yeah. If you could see the laundry that's outside of this frame, you would be like, oh, she needs to wash clothes.
What? They don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's a lot of your therapy session as well. Social media is just what it is, a social platform. Don't get caught up in that.
It is. I get to be who I post to be. That's who I get to be.
Come on, say that again.
I get to be who I post to be.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
Come
on, take us in with that spoken word. I'm sorry, I just thought that was necessary, but take us in. What do you have?
All right.
I'm excited.
Maybe it's a part of her armor. Maybe her promiscuity translates to a desire to be and feel loved. Maybe she's so angry because she grew up with a father that didn't want to be bothered. Maybe she's bitter because she chooses a man who refuses to choose her in return. Now she all upset because he violated her vulnerabilities by using her deepest fears against her, consistently ignoring her ambiguous and direct cries to simply put her first. Maybe she's so ratchet because she longs to unapologetically express herself. In a world where she is shamed for her curves, curls, and sexuality, but in reality, she's just she. A woman she doesn't quite know, but is craving to be. She is not a thought. She is not a freak. She's not a MILF or just your baby mama. She's not an angry Black woman full of nonsense and drama. She's not cute for a Black girl, fat girl. She doesn't need to chill or relax, girl. She's not a thrill. She's not a quota. She's not ghetto or dumb. I won't say that one, or a liar. But maybe she's in dire need of a piece of peace and adequate coping skills to deal with emotional trauma from years of the drama that she told herself was life. Ever thought she traveled so far left because nobody ever showed her right? Maybe she lives in a world where her fears dictate her behavior. Imagine looking in the mirror only to see a stranger. Envision trying to discover yourself, acknowledging your past while filtering your present through it. Think about how hard it must be to accept love when people's words and behavior are really incongruent. Yeah. What about the possibility that she is an addict? We just don't get hooked on substances, we can actually get hooked on feelings and experiences, going around and around on a toxic cycle. So that push and pull is her fighting for survival. And sometimes the biggest bully is that one that's within. Maybe she's given her absolute best only to feel unappreciated and stressed. Maybe she is so worn out it feels like running a marathon just getting dressed. Maybe she's gave up trying to impress the masses. The masses of people who closely examine her under their little self-righteous microscope. Maybe she's so loud because she is trying to muster up some kind of hope. Maybe her Facebook rant is a cry for help, using the likes as a light to illuminate the dark place that she's in. Got thousands and thousands of Facebook friends, but not one face-to-face friend. You see, what you see is not always what you get. And we get so caught up in our own little world that we often forget that you too were once in a mess in need of an SOS. So how about the next time you see your sis in distress, you reach out and invest a little bit of kindness, a small portion of your time. You can simply slide in their DMs like, hey, is everything fine? How about an I love you? I'm here. Show some empathy, compassion. These are the things that we need to stop this cycle from lasting. So the next time, before you get all judgy about someone else's behavior, why don't we simply try it God's way and love thy neighbor?
Well, come on, huh? Put those hands together. I need to see some hearts, some loves, all that good stuff. That was absolutely fun. Some finger snaps, all that good stuff from the life coach, from the therapist, from the spoken word artist. That did you write that during the pandemic?
I didn't. I wrote it a little bit before, actually.
A little bit before. She got one coming out there during the pandemic because she's been busy in the balance.
There we go.
But I want to thank you. That was absolutely sensational. Thank you from the owner, the therapist, and the life coach of Elevated Counseling and Coaching, the lovely Sierra Renee. Again, where can they reach you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook at Elevated Counseling and Coaching. You can also call me directly at 734-956-0616, or you can send me an email at elevatedcounselingandcoaching@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. We want to thank our sponsor, Detroit Made. You can get our gear at DetroitMadeInc.com. And as always, we want to leave you with an e-thought, and it's simply, he will keep you in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. So keep your mind on God and you'll be in perfect peace. And you can have Jesus and counseling. Thank you, Sierra Renee, your friendly friendapist.
There you go. Yes.
Friend and therapist. I got it. Until next time, thank you. And we thank you for listening to E-Thought Conversations. We'll see you next time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right.
And cut.
Cool.